a nonprofit advocacy group of the St. Johns River.
And our mission is to help protect the river.
Welcome, and thanks for tuning in to the St. Johns Riverkeeper Show. My name is Shannon Blankenship. I'm the Outreach Director for St. Johns Riverkeeper. And today I'm joined by my co-host, Sarah Harper, who is an intern in Outreach with St. Johns Riverkeeper this semester. Thanks for joining us, Harper.
I'm happy to be here.
So before I begin with today's show, it's going to be a special holiday segment. I wanted to talk a little bit about who St. Johns Riverkeeper is, what we do, and what we're here to accomplish. St. Johns Riverkeeper is an independent environmental advocacy organization fighting to protect and preserve the St. Johns River, which is a vital waterway throughout Jacksonville, Florida, throughout the state of Florida, and serves to protect and preserve that waterway. We are spearheaded by a person. Her name is Lisa Reineman, the St. Johns Riverkeeper, and she really works to become a voice for the river itself, natural resources that don't have voices in order to speak up when issues will harm them, need a person out there speaking on behalf of that resource. So that's really what Lisa Reineman does, and that's what St. Johns Riverkeeper is there for. Now, St. Johns Riverkeeper is a staff of 6. We have 4 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees, and we really can't do what we do to protect the St. Johns River without the more dedicated capacities of our volunteer network and of our interns. Our volunteer network I'll talk a little bit more about later in the show, but I really wanted to get into the ways that we're able to accomplish our mission through outreach, through education, and through being an advocate. And I wanted to be able to give Harper a little bit of time to talk about the internship she's had with us this semester, and some of the highlights that she's taken away. So Harper, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you decided to take a semester off of school and have an internship?
Okay, well, I go to the University of Florida, and I'm in the Innovation Academy, and we operate on a spring-summer basis so that we can have the falls off for internships and study abroads. And I wanted to have a productive fall, so I decided to look for internships in the Jacksonville area, and I found Riverkeeper, and I fell in love with their mission and their organization. And as I've been doing the internship, I've also fallen in love with the people that are there and the staff, and they're very powerful voices for the river, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Excellent. So why did you start looking in the Jacksonville area for an internship?
Jacksonville is my hometown, but it's also a great city. It's a beautiful city. We have the river, and we have the ocean, and we have different waterways, and we have Big Talbot Island, and there's just so much beauty and so much nature here. And I'm very passionate about the environment and environmental advocacy, so I felt like it was a great place to start.
Excellent. So, well, hopefully you're enjoying yourself and the internship has been rewarding. What are some of the things that you've worked on this semester that maybe you were surprised about, and sort of new challenges that you've realized being in the real world?
Desk jobs are very interesting. I've worked a lot with media and putting together different things for the St. Johns Riverkeeper with consolidating our volunteer database and making it more effective and efficient. I've also worked on flyers for different events that we have, and a lot of advocacy work relies on volunteers and fundraising. So I've been working a lot with that.
Those are good points. I think a lot of people think that being St. Johns Riverkeeper, we get to be out in the boat all the time, or that we're always out there on the waterways, but most of what we do really is behind a desk. It's behind a computer, it's on the phone with the people making a lot of decisions that will impact the St. Johns, and so it's sort of, I think, great to hear that you're surprised at how much sort of desk work there is to do in order to achieve our mission. But you have gotten outdoors a little bit. Tell me about some of your experiences on the river or near the river that you've had recently this semester that you didn't know about before with the St. Johns.
Well, we did a Mopping Up McCoy's cleanup on McCoy's Creek, which is a creek that feeds directly into the St. Johns River. And you guys have done a lot of cleanups over this past year, one every month, and you guys have helped to restore water flow and just basically the overall health of the McCoy's Creek. And that was a very powerful experience. I've done a lot of things on the river with boating and that kind of thing. I went out with you guys and did some boating stuff. So
excellent. Well, I think recreation and boating opportunities are always great, especially if we get to engage new people on the St. Johns River. I wanted to talk a little bit too about the importance of volunteers in really being able to achieve our mission. So the St. Johns Riverkeeper with a staff of 6 is not able to get out into the watershed and do as much messaging, as much engagement as we would like to without having a really dedicated network of volunteers. Our volunteer coordinator for the organization is Roger Linville, and he does an excellent job of not only working with volunteers, collecting information and data, but also in letting our volunteers know about what we're doing, about events where we need help, about ways that people themselves can help us achieve our mission to protect and preserve the St. Johns River. Now, you've been working a lot with Roger this semester and really trying to enhance our volunteer program. Talk a little bit about some of the ways that you're trying to make it easier for people to become volunteers with us.
Okay, well, currently we have a listserv. Roger has a list of emails that he sends all the volunteer communication to. And so what I tried to do is I tried to make a newsletter and a more unified approach to contacting volunteers, and we're making it easier for volunteers to get in contact with Riverkeeper. We created a form so that volunteers can fill out their interests, and so we have a more targeted communication with our volunteers, and it's making for a much more effective system.
Sure. I think that effective communication is important when you're trying to get people engaged in our issues. Lisa can only attend so many meetings and be in so many places at once. So it really is about how effectively we're able to reach out to people who are interested in our issues and tell them about what they can do to become more involved. So thank you so much for your work with our volunteer communication. If anyone's interested in becoming a volunteer with St. Johns Riverkeeper, it's easy. At this point, you would simply visit our website, find out by clicking how to help, how you can become a volunteer, and then shortly we'll have a really actually interactive way that you can go onto our website and fill out information, and you'll be fed directly into our volunteer listserv. So check that out, especially after the new year. Now, along with some of our volunteering opportunities that we have and ways to get engaged, we also have a lot of events coming up. And our next big event is actually our volunteer appreciation event. It's the St. Johns Riverkeeper membership mingle. Now, I know you weren't able to attend the membership mingle last year, but I think this is a really great event to bring in all of our volunteers, let them know that we appreciate them. We always give out volunteer awards for the people that have really strived above and beyond throughout the year to help us achieve our mission. And it's also just a time that we can sit back and relax, talk with staff, talk with members, learn about some of the things that they're worried about on the river, and have a sort of informed discussion with the people that are helping us to achieve our mission so often and so diligently. The next event that we have coming up after that actually focuses on 2 of our really, I would say, formed volunteer network groups, and that is one, the River Patrol, and then secondly, the Rising Tides. So the River Patrol, for people that don't know, is a group of boaters, paddlers, or just people with access to waterfront that regularly fill out reports to what they're seeing on the St. Johns River, and then send those reports in to us so that we know about what's going on. Now, the River Patrol has been insanely helpful when it comes to finding out out where the algae bloom is on the St. Johns River. I'll talk a little bit more about the issues affecting the St. Johns River, including the algae bloom later. But in tracking this algae bloom, it has been vital to have people on the water sending us letters and reports saying, here's where I saw algae, here's where I saw algae, this is what it looks like. We've been able to post that on our Facebook page and alert people to where this harmful and toxic substance is so that they can avoid water contact in those areas. Another thing that the River Patrol is really helping to do is just have a presence all over the watershed of people concerned about the St. Johns River that are getting on the water and then can sort of report back to us as to what they're seeing and what they're finding. And I think that's a really great program that we have, and I think it's a great resource for allowing volunteers who want to become more active and giving them a channel to do that.
Definitely, and the river affects so many people in so many ways, and Jacksonville's lifeblood is the river, and so it's really important to have those people that are constantly monitoring, because we can't, a staff of 4 can't monitor the river in every place at every time. So it's really helpful to have so many wonderful volunteers come in and help us do what we need to do.
The other great engaged volunteer group are the Rising Tide, which is our young professionals group. Now, young professionals, I think, are increasingly looking for ways that they can help give back to their community. You know, we all love attending happy hour events, we all love socials, but to have a social with a purpose is just a little more important and powerful. So the Rising Tides throughout this year have had, they took on a mission, and that mission was to help clean up and restore McCoy's Creek. And really the impetus for this was we went out and we did some cleanups in McCoy's Creek, and there was so much more to do. It's hard to do a cleanup and then walk away after 2 hours when you're tired, when you're hot, and see how much more there is left. And we really said, if we're going to come out here and do a cleanup on McCoy's Creek, I think we need to come back next month. I think we need to come back the month after that. And so we created this 2013 initiative to go out there and do cleanups each month. Now, December is going to be the culmination of our 2013 goal. And so we are going to be meeting on December the 15th, which is a Sunday, from 10 to 12 on the North Bank Riverwalk. And that's the location right near the Times Union building where McCoy's Creek actually meets the St. Johns River. And at that location, we'll have an easier access cleanup where people can walk around, pick up cigarette butts, pick up all the things that they see in order to enhance and beautify that area. But also, it'll be an award ceremony where we're really trying to let our volunteers know that are dedicated to the mission and to cleaning up McCoy's Creek, and we can give them some appreciation for all the work that they put in. I think that'll be a really fun event. It's a great culmination of 2013 and all the energy that's been out there, but also anything that's going to energize young professionals in the city of Jacksonville for protecting the water is going to be a good thing.
Well, not only that, you guys have inspired so much more work on McCoy's Creek because of you and the year that you guys have spent. People are talking about taking out McCoy's Creek Boulevard and widening the creek and restoring it so that that can be a floodplain. And they're talking about water quality and putting in dams to collect trash on the waterway so that it's constantly collected, so that we constantly have trash removal and we don't have to have people going out there all the time and collecting all the trash. So you guys have inspired so much.
Yeah, and I think too, you know, it's a challenge getting out there and knowing that the work that you're putting in could really be thwarted by one other, you know, large rain event where all of the debris comes down into the creek again. So having the partner organizations out there with us, working in other ways to engage the community, to inform the community about what we're doing, to work on landscape design plans, to collect you know, stormwater catchment devices. It's just been really, really rewarding. The Jacksonville JCs are out there with us each month. Northville Land Trust applied for a grant and received a grant for $50,000 through Wells Fargo in order to help restore the area. The Real McCoys are really one of the the organizations out there working with the community groups, and then the many community associations out there over at Westbrook, over in Brooklyn, working to help the youth in the community in the area, and hopefully be able to use the creek as a resource as opposed to just a nearby sort of feature. I think will be really great. So our rising tides are getting energized for 2014 planning. And another thing that's going to be happening in 2014 that's really exciting is our April Eco Heritage Boat Trip. We just got back from the October Eco Heritage Boat Trip, and the April trip is planned. And something that I want to highlight with the April trip is that this is a great idea for a Christmas gift.
Definitely.
I think having a 2-day boat trip in April, it's enough planning, it's enough time that you can really, buy this gift and be able to give it to someone and give them the gift of a backyard vacation on the St. Johns River. It's a great experience, and it's the perfect sort of, thoughtful gift idea.
Yeah, and we have a rating system at the end of the Eco Heritage trip where people send in their comments and how they like the trip, and all of them have been really positive.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a fun event and definitely a great present.
Yeah, and some other gift ideas too that we wanted to talk about and feature today is some of the St. Johns Riverkeeper merchandise that we have. Now, there's an event coming up, or I guess a time coming up. There's Black Friday. I think that everybody knows about that. Going and shopping after Christmas. And then there's Cyber Monday. So on Monday is when you go online and you buy all the things that you weren't able to get at Black Friday for the people that you want to shop for. But then after that, on December 3rd, there's Giving Tuesday. And Giving Tuesday is really that day that for the people that you didn't buy something for the people that you didn't go online and find something for the people that really would like a gift that means more than what you can get in some of those chain stores, is Giving Tuesday. And something that you can do is give the gift of a membership to St. Johns Riverkeeper. So I brought with me today the membership envelope that we have for giving the gift of membership. And this is something that you can simply go onto our website, stjohnsriverkeeper.org, and find. Some other merchandise events that we have. Harper, if you want to help me display some of this. This is the t-shirt that St. Johns Riverkeeper offers on our website. The t-shirts are priced at $15, and the slogan is "Whiskey is for drinking and water's for fighting over," and that's a Mark Twain quote. And these are really out and around town. A lot of people have them, but they're good quality shirts. They're American Apparel. We have them in men's and women's sizes, and all of that is available on our website.
And they feel very nice cottony, very soft cotton.
Thank you, Harper. And then another item that we have is the St. Johns Riverkeeper cap. And these are also on our website. You look excellent. They're $15, and they're a great gift for anyone who gets out in the water and boats regularly or kayaks regularly. It's a gift that gives back to the community, but also provides something to wrap up and put in a box if you're looking for that for this holiday season. So yeah, all great ideas of ways that you can give a really great gift on Giving Tuesday. And make sure to check us out on Facebook and check out our website to find out how to do that. But if you're through looking for Christmas gifts and you're wondering maybe more about why should I care about St. Johns Riverkeeper, the St. Johns River, and some of these sort of gift suggestions, it's really more about what it is that we're doing and what it is we're fighting to protect. The St. Johns River, at 310 miles long, is an extremely unique waterway, and it's facing a lot of challenges right now. Lisa is working diligently on, first of all, giving a voice to our river in this fight over statewide water policy issues. This past weekend, there was a Clean Water Summit held in Central Florida where water policy advocates from throughout the state were able to come together and really talk about what the priorities for cleaning up our waterways are. Now, Harper was able to attend the summit with Lisa and our other interns, and maybe you can give us a brief description of what the message of this event and campaign is.
Right. One of the main things we talked about was a declaration for clean water, and we're putting out a concise and descriptive message about what we want, what we need in our water in Florida, because our clean water is disappearing, and it's not fair to citizens that the government is not doing anything about it. They're not controlling pollution as much as they should be. They're far behind in their EPA checkups and that kind of thing. And so it's really important for us to get out there and to advocate for these waterways. And another important part of the event was planning for 2014. We planned an event for January where we will have different events, press events all over Florida at different waterways, impaired waterways, the St. Johns River, the Wakulla Springs, and down in Ocala. So we're going to have press events so that we can draw attention to these impaired waterways and what we need to do to fix them. And then we're going to go to Tallahassee in February and have an event in the state capitol, trying to get legislators to really see what we care about and why we care about it and why it's so important to us, and to sustainability, to get these things fixed.
Yeah, and I love that we had this summit, because what is really apparent to me through working on water policy issues in the St. Johns River watershed is that similar issues are happening down in the Everglades, similar issues are happening in the Indian River Lagoon, and similar threats are being faced by the springs out on our western Gulf Coast as well. The state really is unified in the need for more protections and more policies that will help protect our waterways. And I think that challenges are just going to continue to come our way when it comes to the overconsumption of water, but also in the pollution of our waterways. What were some of the discussions and speeches that you heard that maybe really spoke to you?
Well, my favorite speaker was David Guest. He is the attorney for Earth Justice, or the lawyer for Earth Justice, and he's a very powerful person. And he was talking about how the EPA is supposed to be a watchdog for corporations. That's why they were set up. The EPA is a watchdog for pollution into waterways and just crimes against the environment. And they're no longer as powerful as they were when they were first set up, because the corporations have started to demand things from the EPA. They've started to demand laws being changed, and it's just a very ineffective system right now, because there's no longer a watchdog. There's people telling the watchdog what to watch and what to do. For example, in Adena Springs, that's a big thing that the Riverkeeper is working on. They're trying to use tens of thousands of gallons of water from the St. Johns River, and we're trying to and they're trying to get permits for it. And currently what they want to do is illegal, but they're very close to getting permits for it. And what we're trying to do is fighting against that, and fighting against overconsumption and pollution of the St. Johns River. And that was his main point, was how we as citizens need to advocate for what we want if the EPA isn't going to do it. And so we need to talk to our legislators and get them to listen to us.
And I think those are all good messages. One of the things that I was really sort of struck by when I was looking at pictures of the summit is it seemed like there were actually a lot of members of the younger generation there, and I know that you were able to attend. So what did you think as far as the structure of people a little bit younger getting engaged on some of these water issues, and was that brought up at all at the conference?
Yes, well, with the event starting out, it was mainly the established people in the environmental world that started to speak, and they were trying to get us pumped up. And they were talking about how they've been fighting for this for so long, and there's an age gap there, because there's like about 20 years of people that aren't present, and those people aren't involved in the environmental world and the advocacy world. And to see the younger generation there, like the 18 to 26 was the age range that was there, as well as the 40s to 60s. And to see that generation there, they were really excited and really ecstatic. And every single one of those speakers talked about how they were so happy to see a younger generation carrying on the legacy of the work that they've strived for so long. And a couple of the speakers teared up. There was a man up there that started tearing up, and it was very emotional and very powerful to see such an emotional response from a 50-year-old man, you know, and it was just very powerful.
So speaking from the younger generation, why do you think it is that's maybe more difficult to get them engaged in some of these sort of statewide water policy issues?
Really, it's just awareness. My generation doesn't really. We went to Disney World. we did the consumerism thing. Our parents took us to Disney World and Universal Studios, and we didn't really experience the beauty that Florida has to offer. I was fortunate enough that I was taken to Springs and I was taken camping, but I was very rarely taken camping and that kind of thing. And I think my generation needs to go out camping more, go to Springs, experience it. It's beautiful. It's a lot of fun. And once you experience nature, you will love it and you will fight for it because it's disappearing, and it's not fair to us that we're going to hand down to our kids nature that's no longer there, and it's just really sad.
Well, I think it's really encouraging that there were so many, young students involved in the Clean Water Summit. Can you maybe talk to me a little bit about who some of the big names as far as the environmental organizations that were present, and then maybe some of the universities that were present to sort of so that we can sort of understand who the big players are here in fighting for clean water protection in Florida?
There were a lot of water keepers there. There's the St. John's Riverkeeper. There was Earth Justice. There was the Center for Earth Jurisprudence. Yes. And there are a lot of different community environmental organizations, the Sierra Club, and that kind of thing, as well as big names in the environmental world. And the young people came from UCF, the University of Florida, the University of North Florida, the University of South Florida. There were people from all over the state. They're the young people from colleges and universities fighting for clean water.
Well, I think that's really encouraging. Lisa stays really engaged on these statewide issues, which is just vital in order to work harder to protect the St. Johns River. As many of you might know, this past year the algae bloom has just been extended. You know, normally if we get an algae bloom, it really hits hard in the heat of the summer. Right after we get this big rainstorm, it'll come down and we'll end up with with algae in July or in August. This year, our biggest algae bloom really hit at the end of October, and we've been experiencing algae blooms into November. This is rare, and I think it's something that really speaks to the overwhelming problem that we have here in our watershed about the use of fertilizers, about agriculture, about the reduced flows, about all of these things that sort of combine to create this really detrimental situation in the St. Johns River. When we get that algae bloom, not only is it toxic, is it harmful for people to come in contact with, but it also really hinders the ability of fishermen to go out there and catch fish, the ability of people to recreate on the water. Think about all those marinas. People can't go out in boats. Think about all of the ways that we utilize the St. Johns River that literally has to go on halt when we have these algae blooms flowing in our waterways. And to have them extended in this time of year is alarming, and it's really upsetting. So St. John's Riverkeeper is really on the forefront in the state of fighting to protect the St. Johns River and to protect us from these harmful algae blooms.
Right, and an important thing to remember is that the river, it's not, people think that it's dying or that it's dead and that they can no longer use it for recreation, but that's not true. If you love the river, if you spend time on the river, if you boat on the river, if you kayak, if you swim it, you can save it. Mm-hmm. You can be that voice for the river, and we can save it from the algal blooms. They can be fixed. Mm-hmm. So it's not a dead cause.
I agree, and I think that this entire episode we've really been talking about engagement, and one of the best ways to get engaged on these issues is to get engaged with the river itself. I would encourage people this holiday season to find a way to take your family out to any of our state parks and any of our springs if you're able to. Experience the water that we're trying to protect, experience the water that feeds us. Go visit the manatees at Blue Spring, and and encourage your kids to learn more about the manatees and learn why they should protect them. I know that my favorite spring to visit is Ichetucknee, and you and I have both talked about some of our experiences on Ichetucknee and great memories there. I want to thank everyone for joining us on the episode of St. John's Riverkeeper Show today. This holiday season, remember, get out on the water, experience it, see what you can of this great resource, and then also visit our website and learn a little bit more about how you can become a member. Thanks so much for tuning in.
And yes, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for having me, Shannon.
I'll see you guys next time.